Hello, wildlings. I'm your Creepsmith, and you found my Fear Forge. Lucky you.
Tonight's tale, Missing Teeth, by ImGonnaBeThatGuy. When I woke up in the morning, I knew something was off. But it wasn't until after my shower and shave that I figured it out. Not until my toothbrush slipped into a new gap in my smile. I froze, bristles bridging the gap as I tried to understand what had happened. Slowly, I removed the brush from my mouth and stared in the mirror as I pulled my lips back, part smile, mostly grimace. There it was. Under my whitewashed, paste-smeared lips and set in the sudsy white teeth was a little black window. Upper set, one of the front ones. I'm not a particularly vain person, but this was upsetting. Missing teeth were for yokels, the homeless, people who got in fist fights over sports. I wear a suit, I go to meetings, I have a secretary. Now, here I was, looking like I was dirt. What made this deterioration worse was that just a few weeks ago I had noticed that my hair was thinning. Now this. My anxiety flared and my mind exploded with reasons why the tooth could have fallen out. I mean, was it because I only brushed my teeth once a day on weekends, or was it something with my gums? I went through the day with my upper lip curled over my teeth and my mind filled with every possible reason why my tooth might be gone. My secretary scheduled a dentist's appointment for me later in the week. I didn't tell her why. The next morning, I was missing another one, bottom towards the back this time. No blood, no pain, there was just this hole. And I couldn't keep my tongue out of it, but that was it. Physically, at least. On the inside, I felt a constant claustrophobic panic. At home, every couple of minutes, I would tear off my sheets or get down on all fours, spreading out like a stretching dog, fingers splayed, praying that some part of me would touch the lost teeth. They had to be somewhere. Maybe the dentist could put them back in? On the third day, my front 3 teeth on the top and bottom each were gone. I almost cried. I was still single, and all I could think about was how no woman would want someone with such a fucked up mouth. Every few minutes, I reached into my mouth and started to push and pull on my teeth to see if they were loose. That is, until I began to worry that I was making them loose with all the tugging and the pushing. I didn't go into work. I just called my dentist half a dozen times, trying to get him to see me as soon as possible. The anxiety soon burned me out, so after I carefully brushed my teeth, I went to bed early. I don't know when it was I woke up, but when I did, I saw him. I don't know why I didn't scream or jump back against the headboard, but somehow I just stayed still, and I watched him through slivers of open eyes. In the dark, I could just barely see the outline of his hunched back. His face was pale and waxy. His thin, round glasses caught the little bit of street light that came in through my window. When he put his hand in my mouth, I tasted leather. Short, fat fingers pinched one of my teeth. I felt a quick, sharp slice into my gum, and then just a gap where my tooth had been. He took 4 more, and then creeped out of my room. The floorboards didn't squeak, my door hinge didn't whine as he closed it. I didn't even hear the front door open or close. All I heard was a car starting and pulling out of my driveway. I didn't go anywhere the next day. My dentist's office called, but I didn't answer my phone or listen to their voicemail. I didn't move out of bed. The hunger didn't bother me. I had fewer teeth than a jack-o'-lantern, and I couldn't imagine trying to chew anything with my asymmetrical maw now. My mouth was dry, but when I thought about water, I thought about floods and mudslides washing away hills and houses and gums and teeth sliding down the back of my throat in a wave. I couldn't call the police. Yeah, a man is stealing my teeth at night. Might as well be the password for a mental asylum. Instead, I tried to fight sleep. Every light was turned on, every TV on its loudest setting. My stereo was cranked to its limit. When I woke up, I was in the silent dark, and he was there. He took 3 more that night. When he left, I followed. Where I walked, floorboards squeaked and hinges whined, but he didn't look back. I saw his car, some old steel boat with tail fins and white walls. After he pulled out, I ran to my car and went after him. He had to know I was behind him. I kept my distance because that's what the spies and the detectives do in movies, but at this time of night, we were the only 2 cars on the road. And I realized he's seen my car before. We headed for the boondocks, rural roads that I'd never been on. They were dark and narrow, turning back and forth, rising up into the fog and then dipping down again. Trees flanked us, no moon or stars, just headlights that shined on the reflective markers on the guardrail. I didn't know what time we started, but it felt like we'd been driving for hours. Maybe he was trying to lose me. I hadn't seen any other roads out here. And then finally, after a long, curving ride up and then down a mountain, I started to see familiar roads again. This guy was fucking with me. All we did was go in a big circle. These were the streets that took us out into the backwoods. The exact streets. We were going back to my house. But it wasn't my house. It looked like it, but at my house the mailbox is on the right of the driveway, and here it's to the left. In the yard was a birch tree that I had cut down 2 years ago. He parked his car and then walked inside. I followed right behind. I knew he was going. I knew how to get there. The layout of the house was exactly the same as mine, only the furniture was in different places. I walked back to my bedroom and pushed the door open with my fingertips. He had turned on a small lamp on the nightstand. Mine had 3 drawers, his had 2, and he was already at work. In my bed, under the covers, was a lump of flesh. Someone, maybe this man, had sculpted crude arms and a neck and a soft, dented jawline. On the top of its head was an uneven, sparse tuft of hair, brown, same shade as mine. 2 small holes for a nose, angular divots where the eyes should be. The sheets rose and fell with shallow breathing. I watched him open up the lump's lipless ovoid mouth and with crafter's precision set my teeth into its gums. After they were in, he grabbed them, wiggled them, tugged on them. They wouldn't budge. Then when he was done, slowly, he turned from his work. and looked at me. His face was yellow in the dim lamplight. The eyes behind the glasses were little more than pinpricks of pupil. Over his shoulder, the lump began to stir. It struggled to breathe. Each exhale was a muffled internal scream. It tried to rise, tried to push itself up with boneless flipper-like hands, but they just smashed, useless, against the mattress. The groaning breaths became more frustrated and angry as it struggled to prop itself up. When the lump finally shimmied itself against the headboard, it joined the man in staring at me. And I stared back. First into its empty sockets, the same dull, slimy pink as a newborn baby. The room was getting smaller. The bulb in the bedside lamp exploded, and the only light came from the man's eyes. Thin bolts of blazing yellow that cut right through the pitch dark of the room, illuminating little islands of his sticky flesh. The pupils spread, the light widened, revealing more and more of his face. His mouth opened, wide, unhinged. All I could see were teeth sloppily spiraling around the inside of his mouth until they disappeared into the dark of his throat. All I heard was the struggling breaths of the lump, now loud as thunder, but still maintaining that muffled quality. My eyes traced the spiral of the teeth, straining to follow them into the cavernous black esophagus, and I fell in, and I rode the spiral down. I woke back up in my house, my real house. It was a few more nights before all of my teeth were gone. Then I started losing my fingernails, toenails. Last night he took my lips. Now there's just a gaping black hole in my face. I don't know what he'll take next, but I saw myself half formed in that bed. I know there's a lot of work to be done. And here I thought that when you get older, things just start to fall apart. Silly me. Thanks for listening, wildlings. Stay scary, and make the most of your nights.